One day, you'll be the oldest person in the room. One day, you'll look around and realize everyone is younger than you, and it happens faster than you think. Maybe you think you are old, even if not the oldest in the room. What you probably don't realize is it's all relative. Hi, if you haven't been here before, I'm Hal, and I'm going to give you my thinking about old age. I believe I have the experience to talk about age because I am old. I'm 81, and that entitles me to voice an opinion about being old. Now here's the thing, it's all relative. I've known people who have cried because they turned 30. 30? Really? Personally, I didn't think anything about age at 30. What a great age to be, 30. I remember a comic in the early 70s talking about the mantra of young people at the time, don't trust anyone over 30 or under 20. Someone in the audience yelled at him and asked, "How old are you?" He said, 30. In my 20s and 30s, we didn't talk much about age as such. We didn't think about it. We didn't think about the decline that was about to happen, or in fact was happening to our bodies. I only began to think about age in my late 40s and early 50s, and even then not much about health because aside from a few aches and pains caused by injuries, I felt as healthy as I always had. Most of us have some bumps and bruises and aches by that age because, let's face it, we do dumb things when we are truly young. Through my 50s, I was still very active physically and mentally. In fact, that was a good decade for me. Same with the 60s, but by my 70s, I had slowed down. At about 75, things started to change. In the book Aztec by Gary Jennings, one of my all-time favorite authors, he tells the story about the protagonist entering the age of never. And it goes like this. I've entered the age of never. Oh man, this hill was never this steep before. My back never hurt like this before. I never used to have trouble jogging 4 miles. At 81, I don't even walk 4 miles anymore. I do walk, just not 4 miles. So at what age is a turning point in health? Does this concept really exist? Well, yes. On average, research shows that by age 75, there is a noticeable decline in health, such as frailty and an increase in disease compared with other earlier decades. This is supported by large surveys, increase in frailty, and of chronic disease. But it's not a sudden cliff. It's where years of wear outstrips the body's ability to repair itself. I love this quote by Yogi Berra. If I had known I was going to live this long, I would have taken better care of myself. Men and women will experience this differently. Men often decline earlier in some ways but have shorter lifespans, but women often live longer but with more disability. As far as friends and relatives go, I am usually the oldest one in the room. I was firstborn and got used to being the oldest. I'm older than my wife. I'm older than my doctor. I'm old enough to remember when the Dead Sea was just sick. And I don't remember when it hit me that I was the oldest one in the room. Sometime last year, my wife and I were in a restaurant. We got up to leave, and an older gentleman stopped me and bluntly asked, bluntly is how a lot of older people say things, "How old are you?" I said 80. "How old are you?" He said 92. I thought, damn, you don't look a day over 85. Actually, he could have passed for 65 or 70. We all aged differently. He told me he had been looking around the room and wondering if he was the oldest person in the room. And actually, the previous day had been his 92nd birthday. I don't doubt he was. I strongly believe that as we are truly older than most people, above 80 and beyond, we begin to think more about just how really old we are. Some say things like, "I don't even buy green bananas anymore," or "Damn, I've lived through 16 presidents." A lot of folks my age are just waiting to die. Nursing homes are filled with them. But many are learning new things, giving advice when asked. When I was a kid, children actually listened and asked older folks for advice. I remember my grandfather and listening as he told stories of his experience in World War II. He was in France right in the middle of the action. In my culture and time, kids did listen, and I still listen for advice and continue to learn. Aging isn't losing relevance, it's gaining perspective. The trick is staying curious instead of defensive. If anything, you learn patience. Well, a little anyway. And tolerance for younger people who would treat you like a child or patronize you. And when I say younger people here, I'm talking about anyone under 50. I hate to be called young man. The red flags go up and I wonder, what is it this guy wants from me? And it's always a guy because I've never had a woman call me young man. But I try to minimize that stuff and look at him like he must be one head injury away from a TED Talk. Sometimes I give him the old man glare, as if to say, "Get the hell off my grass." I've earned the right to be an old man, and there's nothing wrong with that. Learning is a two-way street. I can learn from young people, and I do. Much of the culture and technology of today I learned from people younger than me. Well, that's about all I have for today. Don't take anything too seriously, not even in the chaotic world we live in today. Laugh at everything, even if it's not all that funny. In the end, it won't matter at all. So what is your take on aging? Please don't say aging is just a number or age is just a number. Anyway, I'd love to know what you think about being old. Let me know in the comments. See you on the flip side.